member of that of the global communities. And today I would like to share about the MyData Operators Awards and why we want to why operators like me, Personia and Fujitsu would like to apply for that awards. And then since there's several months that we have been presenting what MyData is, so just some kind of a reminder of what MyData Global's principle is. So yes, yeah. So here I kind of represent Personium. It's one of the open source platform for personal data store, and in MyData, I also besides being the board member, I also co-lead with my participants in MyData for Children, the projects in Global South, and MyData for pandemics. And I also work for Fujitsu in Tokyo. So today there's maybe 6 to 7 topics, depends on the time. So first I will talk about the MyData Operators Awards, and then I will give you a brief introduction of what MyData is, and then another brief introduction of MyData Operators and how to get the award, and I will share 3 different companies that the reason they apply for the award. So MyData Operators Awards. So we started it in 2020, and basically this award we do it every year. But since it's just the second time we're doing it, so the time frame of doing it's quite different. Last year we started in July, and then in the end I think it's in September that we give the award out. And then this year we are starting it now in September, and then in November, we will give out the results of the awards, and basically it's we as a global community, we recognize organizations that shows their leaderships in the personal data space, personal data management in a human-centric and personal-based way. So this personal data will be it will be used to empower the individuals to make their own decisions. So it's unlike the current way that the GAIVA, the Google, Amazon, and Facebook that manipulate our data. So whatever we want to do, it's we allow the individuals to manage their data, to decide what kind of data on which level they want to share it with who, and then how long would it be shared. So it's quite a good movement, and then we're starting to get some momentum in Europe as usual. Usually, they are the early adopters. But with all these personal data protection laws in the States and also in Asia, then we're starting to get more inquiries or some proof of concept projects in Asia. So just like I said, it's basically depending on the basically we concentrate on the personal data, and it's all about trust, because like Lotte here says, she's one of the CEO from Icon.io. She said that being an operator is more than subscribing to the MyData principles, but it means providing that trust to the customers so that they can do whatever they want for the data for themselves, and also with that balanced ecosystem and power, the organizations and also the third party can benefit from it, while the use of consent or permission, it's controlled by the users. And yes, some basic fundamentals about the operators. So we kind of designed the award so that it will let your company or your platform, whether it's open source or closed source, stand out in the sector of personal data field. So it can be data. Basically, it can apply to personal data or like some field in the open data. So it depends how you combine and or collaborate with your innovators in that field in your own country. So sometimes you can collaborate with your government if they know enough of the human rights or for the digital side. And then also it's not just for one company that has all the frame. We kind of combine all together, and then each of us has, sometimes each of the companies that have the award are basically strong in certain areas. For example, my company is strong in just personal data store and exchanging data, but some other company, they are good in permissions and checking and using OpenID Connect or whatever. So it allows people to have collaborations, and then they can join the movement for the ethical practice for personal data. And also, since we're kind of like in the innovative area, so it will give your company a curve on persuading your customer to join the bandwagon. And also, the MyData Global itself is a community that combined with business people, legal people from lawyers, and then technical people, and then societal people who's just like try to improve the well-being of all the others, including the global south. So you're kind of like with the a bunch of innovators and experts that kind of advise you how to do it better with the MyData operators to help other people while making an edge for your company to gain benefits, but ethically, not just by selling data. So that's the things that basically what the MyData operators want to do and want to achieve in the end. So this time the application, since we started already in the beginning of September, so right now it's almost 18, right? So you have only maybe 10 days to apply, and usually we have awardees from the 2020. So for them, it's quite easy. They just go over their old applications and then they fill in the new and update their new data. For new people, it might take them the most, if you're from English background, maybe for 5 hours. And if you're from like English as second language, then it takes time for you to read the documents and everything. Like for me, it took me maybe 1 or 2 days just to understand what it is. And if you do want to apply and then later on you have some problem, just feel free to contact me. And then you can access this URL, mydata.org/operators/award, to get more information. I'll share the URL later on to this channel. So last year we have 27 different companies from different places of the world that get the award. So for example, from Asia, we have Passbit from Japan and Personium from also from Japan. And then we have Numbers, which is Number Protocol from Taiwan. And so if you think that you are qualified, so go ahead and then contact me. And then we want to make it so that more Asian companies can be here, because the rest of them is basically European, and then maybe 1 or 2 it's from the States. So if we have more diversity in this group of operators, it means they will start to raise awareness to design their solutions for the global south too. Because as we know, most of the advanced solution, they just think more about the global north, and then they don't really much know what's going on in the global south. So if you have more people here, then it means we have more not bargaining power, but we can give them more knowledge and then help them to help us. So there's some statistics that we have from the September 8th and 15 events that we kind of promote these operators. So basically you can see that both events, most people are from Europe, as you can see here. So and then only 1 or 2 is from Asia. And then the good thing is we have a bunch of diversified organizations. So here you have personal data management company, self-sovereign identity company, which I think it links to the digital identity that probably IO Foundation is found of. And then we have data wallet, which is more like a blockchain company. And then we have a personal data intermediary. It means they don't store data, but they just kind of deal data from the data source to the data using service. and I'll explain to you more about what's data source and data using service in a more simpler sense in the next few slides. And so basically people do understand that with MyData operators, they are from all different kinds of backgrounds. And basically for the two of the events, some people, I would say most people would like to apply, and then still some people, they're on the not sure or won't apply. Basically it's because probably they don't know how the awards will help them promote their own company. So later on I'll tell you our success stories, and then you can decide for yourself. So yes, so enough with the MyData Operators Award. So basically you have to know why we have this award. So before that, I have to tell you a little bit more about MyData MyData principles. So MyData started a long time ago in 2014, and I started to participate in the 2018 in their in-person conference. It's before the COVID, so we get together and then have fun discussing what we can do to improve the well-being of the whole world people. And basically their principle is quite simple. It's human-centric. It means that everything has to be for the people, and then after that you can benefit from it as an organization or whatever. But the main, it has to be first we think of the people first, and it's individual, not just some organization or thing. And then it related to personal data, not open data, because open data is usually is from the government, and we don't have any control. But sometimes some company would take the personal data and then anonymize it or tokenize it and then sell it for some purpose. But we believe that the only thing that you can really empower the people to get add the value to the service, it's by using the personal data. That's why we concentrate on this human-centric personal data management. So our vision is like to let the individual in control of their own data. So we empower the individuals, whether it's children or young student or adults or old people. We kind of like empower them so that it's quite easy for them to say, okay, I want this data to be shared to someone else, but not you or not any other company, just for my own sake, so that I can improve my career or my medical condition or whatever, or I want to share this data only because I want to contribute to this society. So all this has to be we kind of recognize the digital human rights, and then everything has to be personal data based, and then we build on the mutual trust of allowing the people to share the permission and data, and then the company who use it has to promise that they're not going to share it to someplace else, or they're not going to keep a copy and then just make another analysis of it and then sell it for his own good, or use it to improve his own company's benefits. So there's two things that we think, because if we just talk about just providing information for the power for the people, because this kind of platform, even though maybe it's open source or not, still need lots of money to invest, right? So if the company doesn't see anything they can do, they are not doing any charity business. So it means there has to be something that while they're doing it ethically, they still can make a living, and then everyone will be happy. So that's why we have these two left and right big pillar. So the people get the value from their data and then set the agenda, which is including when and how long the data would be shared, and on what level the data will be shared. For example, if it's just personal information, it includes my birthday, my full name, my mother's name, maiden name, and then maybe for certain service, they just need to know my name. They don't need to know my birthday or not, right? So it means we allow the people to decide, hey, this is kind of fishy. Like I don't want to share my other information, but for your service, it's good enough to share my full name. So those are the things that we related to the agenda. And then for the organizations, they have to do it ethically, and then so that everything can be so that the people or the individual will be able to share the data to them, and then get the added value or services from the organizations. And with this kind of cycle, then we can have a much more fair and sustainable and a prosperous digital society. And it's also human centric, which is the important keyword we have. And also, since the GDPR launched in 2019 May, we have the regulations, right? But then we keep on seeing that, hey, people get fined because they're a huge company and they don't obey the law or whatever. But in MyData, we have this three main basic thing that we want to push, and we put it into our declarations. The first one is from formal to actionable rights. Basically, when you have a law or whatever, it's just that you say that, okay, I don't allow you to do this and that, otherwise you get punished. But then it's not something that you can really work on. So in MyData, we want to have something like, besides using the law to support the idea, but we want to have an organization or ecosystem that actually allow the people to take actions to protect their own data or to manage their own data. And then the second one is from data protection to empowerment. It's similar to the first one. It's instead of just punishing the people or setting up regulations to punish the organizations, we want to have empowerment, which means that the individual will have all the rights and tools and maybe free or paid service to manipulate or manage their own data, so that it won't fall into the wrong hands of some greedy promotion company or advertising company. And the third one is from closed to open system. As you can kind of know that most of the system in the platform or ecosystem is closed. You can never tell when they take your data, how much data is taken. And then even though maybe you're expert in cookie, but then you can never tell, like if you're not a professional, you can never tell from the term of service that some of your data is actually shared by someone that you don't even know, not even in your country, but in somewhere in the in Asia or in Europe. So we want it to be open, so that whatever we do with it, in which level we want to use it, and then how long we are going to use it and keep it, and then we will delete it forever, whatever. So those has to be open ecosystem that explain everything to the user, and then has to be easy way. So if you put it in fine print and then make it so complicated, people just blindly click the OK, then it's no good. So the third one is quite difficult, and has to be someone who has integrity to do this. So that's why all three of them, when together, we can have a much better economy for the data, and then individual can trust the company or the service, and then we can have more I would say all-win situation that it will benefit everyone in the all the stakeholders. So as you can see from this graph, the more of the use of personal data and data protection, then it becomes the data empowerment. So that's basically what in here, the yellow man, it's actually what we want to do. And I would say we're kind of somewhere in the middle. So luckily in a few years, we can really achieve the data empowerment for everyone and in every country. And yeah, so with MyData, we do have a lot of accomplishment already. Even though with the COVID that we cannot have conference in person, that we can communicate in a global sense. But last year we do have several big activities. For example, there's one that also Fujitsu is involved in. It's Helsinki joined in the MyData as operator, as a member, organization member, and then they launch a real person personal data management system, and they also called it city as MyData Operators. So in that project, both of the MyData Operators, Vasto Group and Personium, get together and then provide the informations. And since Personium, it's the PDS option, the personal data option. So we were kind of helping them, helping everyone else with that system. And the other thing, like the European data strategy, it's kind of like in the EU, the commissions and everything, they know about MyData and the principle and the declaration. So they mention MyData in their white paper sometimes. And also, since MyData is originated from Finland, so they have a very strong relationship with the foreign administrations within Finland. And also, recently we have several UNICEF innovation labs or hubs that is set up in Finland, in Helsinki, and that's the kind of like connected to MyData activities. So it's kind of like long history. In short, it's not we sorry, I only started to help out in 2018, so it's like really in the last part. So in 2014, several of the innovative people think about there's enough of getting manipulated or exploited by the big company or enterprise. So they start to write a paper about how good it is to be managing the data by yourself and then empowering the individuals. And then afterwards, each year they have a conference in the in Helsinki, and also I think it's in 2016 or so. Some of the people who attends the Helsinki conference, they come back to Japan, and then they start to have their MyData Japan conference, starting from 2016, if I remember correctly. So it's not just the Europe, but it's starting to spread in different Asian countries too. And recently we have a very successful forum, intellectual forum in the in Korea, and in that forum, even the father of the web, Tim Berners-Lee, attend that forum and then give a very good speech. And the video is available on the YouTube. If you search Data Sovereignty International Forum and then Tim Berners-Lee, probably it will pop up. So basically we're kind of gaining a momentum and then helping in the government area and also in the technological areas. And in order to do that properly, we have different kind of thematic group. So we have health, which kind of concentrate on how to provide the empowerment to the health data for the people. And then the design is how to make the user experience much easier and much more simpler for the people. Because for myself, sadly, I use Google because it's quite easy, because it's the most successful PDS from my point of view. So everything is connected, and then it's so easy that I cannot just refuse to use it. But with the help of the MyData design, we will be able to design more interoperable services and more useful and friendly use services for average people. So then everyone can decide whether they opt out from the biggest platform or not. And then the skills data, it's more like a thematic group that helps students or people develop their career throughout their whole life. So, for example, in Japan or in Europe, you can go to internship while you're in school. So afterwards, when you apply for a job, you want to use that internship experience to show it to your employee. And while you're working for your first employee, you might want to switch job. And then in that, all the training informations and all the projects that you do, you want to put it into your own data so that you can always share it to your new employer, so that he can decide whether they want to hire you or whether you're qualified or not. And so those are the main the main job of the skill daters. And for the MyData for pandemics, we kind of concentrate on, because of the COVID, we have a lot of problem with the how to prove that you have the vaccinations, and how can you prove that you have this PCR test or whatever, and it has to be digital, because already we have a lot of forgery on the vaccinations, so it cannot be proved when it's paper. So we kind of suggest a host platform that can help people to cope with the pandemic system. And we kind of said it pandemic because after COVID we will for sure, for human, we will have another pandemic on and on. So if we prepare this system good enough, then when the next disease came, when the next disease come, then we will be able to cope with it, and then we won't be able to lose money because we cannot get a job, or because the company or restaurant closed down, and then there will be less influence to the economy. And yes, and MyData Operators, I kind of like said it already. And then with MyData Literacy, it's more like because we kind of drive the movement from the very high level way, but then if the random people cannot understand why is it good to have a MyData way than Guyver or Facebook. So in that case, we have to make it more simple, and then allow more people to spread out this idea, so they can take course to learn about MyData principles and why it is good to empower the people. And then from there, they kind of spread the ideas in their own country. For example, we have all this Japan hub, Hong Kong hub, and Korea hub. So if it's with just one or two of us as board member or hub initiators, it's not enough to spread the whole idea to everyone, because we have our own job, right? So basically, most people are doing it as their volunteer or they get paid because the company allowed them to do this SDG related thingy. So we do need this literacy to help more people to understand it, and then we can have more participants to spread this idea. And as you can see in this slide, we cannot put everything in, but mostly we have individual members and also organization members. So for organization members, you can see that from Japan we have Fujitsu, and then we have NTT Data somewhere, and yeah, it's hard to find it. Sorry. So basically, we have mostly it's set to say, okay, we have entity data here, and then Fujitsu here. So mostly it's a European company, and some of the European company is like huge. For example, VTT is kind of like Helsinki Research Institute, so they have a lot of money to invest in this kind of new idea. And then sometimes we have Open Knowledge Foundation, which is more like global NPO or NGO. So basically, we have a lot of people who agree with MyData and then pay the organization fees and then join us. So yes, we come back to the details again. Oh, sorry. So basically, we've talked about the MyData, and now it's some of the technical details. So hopefully you will not get confused. And some of the technical details for the MyData operators. It's kind of the way that we want to do it, not by one service or platform, but we want to interconnect and the whole thing with the human-centric way. So as you can see right now, even with one platform, or even if you try to use Personium as by itself, it's just one-way ticket. You collect the data, you manage it, and then you let other people to use it. It's not good, because in that case, then you have a buy-in and everyone has to use your data, and then it will be very difficult if they want to switch to another operator if they don't want your service. We can think of operators as a telephone company or bank company. if you don't like the service, or if you don't like the bank, if you don't trust to give them money, then you can switch from this bank to another bank, right? But then the money should be able to transfer quite easily. Either you, if you do it in cash, then of course it's analog, but it should be allowed you to transfer the money on the internet from nowadays, right? So those are the things, and also those are the things that, like, if you want to send money to your mom or whatever, like me, I work in Japan and my mom is in Hong Kong. If I want to send money to my mom, I don't want to just send cash in the envelope. It's so silly, right? So then it means the bank in Japan and the bank in Hong Kong should be able to have the similar procedure to allow them to send money this forward and receiving it. So we kind of, like, for MyData Operators, we kind of want to achieve that interoperability. It's quite difficult because everyone has their own built-in platform and then their own technology, and even for the file standards. But since we signed the agreement and then we joined the MyData Operators, it allows us to be able to work with each other. So it will allow us to have one information that comes in, and then the operators itself can send it to different people with the permissions of the user. So for, one of the example would be, let's say if you have a registration in the City Hall. So you get the City Hall information, and then afterwards, if you're applying for the driver license, you may want to send your address and your age and maybe some other informations to that driver license office. And if you want to apply for the passport, then you want to send similar data plus whether you have committed a crime or not to the passport office. So things like that allows you to get one information and then share to everyone whatever you like it. So now that's the most important diagram. So it has four different actors. First, you can see it's a person, which is yourself, that holds the data, and then you put your data sometimes in the data source and sometimes in the operator. It depends on what the operators can do. And data source, basically, it's any service that you use in the internet. For example, if you use internet banking, then that internet banking will be the data source. And then if you share some data to that internet banking, then that internet banking will become the data using service. So basically, whatever some kind of entity that holds the data, and then it can be shared by you to some other place, then it's the source. And then whoever want to use that data and then want to do something else to improve the service that they already have to provide you, then they are the data using service. And operator is the one that kind of control this kind of movement, and then it will record whether this is illegal or not. And then in some countries, it will record all the transactions, and then you will be able to launch a legal protections for yourself. And in some other country, probably you get the illegal data using service may get fined for taking a look in your data without any permissions. But basically, we believe in privacy in design. So it means the operator won't ever share your data unless you allow them and then set up the permission management. So in that case, and here you can see that it's maybe just one for each one, right? But then for the good thing about the MyData Operators is you can have all sorts of different data source, data using service, and the operators, even the operators. So this is the most important. So if you have just one operator, it still go back to the same closed ecosystem that you get all the service from Google or Facebook or Amazon, and then that's it. But then with the operators, we signed the contract of helping each other out, and also agreeing to do the most basic interoperability. So it means that two of the operators, they can have their own customers, and then if one of the customer want to use services provided by the other operators, it should be able for them to transfer that data seamlessly. So the person just don't have to do the calculation for themselves. So one of the good example would be if the data is it's kind of shared in a JSON format, then the key value pair can be quite easy to share, and it just needs some technical programming or implementation for both of the operators to create their own APIs. So yes, it's kind of I'm repeating myself. So the network effects is like you don't expect everyone to connect to just one operators. It's always two or three, and then it depends. If you live in Japan once, and then if you move to some other country, you might have another operator, but then you want to transfer that data, or you want to keep both operators, but then you want to do it with different services. So that's other idea of keeping the network alive, and then sharing the data with the interoperability. And interoperability is quite important because for some other regulations like GDPR, they ask you to export the data, but if that data being exported, it's quite complicated, and then won't be able to be used by any other people or any other service, then it's no use, right? Then you can only send it or import it back to the same service. Then it's not interoperability. So in that case, in MyData Operators, we do have to sign an agreement on each level what kind of interoperability we want to do, and also we come together to see what kind of technology will allow us to talk from one PDS to another PDS. For example, if I have this table, how can I send this data and share it to another person from that operators, but without breaking up my own data model. So yes, and last year we do publish this white paper. It's called Understanding MyData Operators. So you can when you access this slide, you can download it and then take a look, and then you can decide whether you want to apply for the award, or maybe you don't want to apply for the award, but you might want to contribute to this thematic group to help us understand more about the data modeling or sharing of the data, for example, schema or everything. So basically, we have these 9 different functional elements that we allow the MyData operators to use. So first one is identity management. It helps the service to identify people from to identify people or users from their own system. And then with this, if it's interoperability, then I should be able to identify myself even if I'm not belonging to the to your system. And permission management is more like the very simple one. It's access control, whether anyone or people can see this data or can read write on this data. And then service management is more like keeping track of what data service or data source it's within your system, and then whether you can share this similar data to another operators. While the value exchange is more like how to share your data while you get some coupons, or you get some kind of like added services to yourself. For example, a good example would be you share your data of health to some services, and then instead of just getting a coupon of 100 US or whatever, or $2 or $3, they will analyze your data and then tell you that, hey, you're not eating healthily, so you have to keep like doing exercise, or you have to eat more vegetable. So it's kind of like they kind of analyze the data with your permissions, and then it improves your health. And then in that case, sometimes if it's a very good recommendation or analysis, then you might want to give them money, right? So it means there's a very good chance that services can get benefits or can get their business running just by providing better service to the individuals. And data model management is more like it's quite technical. Actually, on the right hand side, the blue one is for the techies. So with data model management, it means how simple it is for you to design the database or the relational table to to adapt to different services. For example, for the City Hall thing, you might want to separate all the data into different files or different table, or you might want to put some things into a JSON file or not. So those are the things that allow you to do it in the data model management. And personal data transfer is more like how can I transfer my data that I have to other company or to other services, either by API or by some other methods. And personal data store is more like how can you save video or whatever into the system, and then afterwards you can take it out and then share with other people. And the thing is, all this blue box, it's the one that Personium provide. And last two would be governance support and logging and accountability. And governance support is more like how to control or how to set up the rules and regulations for your ecosystem. So it's more like a group blue book or guidebook to protect the whole ecosystem, and then with some technical support in it. And not logging and accountability is more like how can you keep the privacy, but while keeping the privacy, you log the data so that the user or the individual can see who's reading the dialogue, or what kind of data he's been sharing, and then when he or she can stop sharing it. And then the accountability is more like if something wrong or happens, you might want to take legal actions or something. So now, for the last few slides, I would like to share some of the company that's been applied for the MyData Awards, and then it helps them out in the real business sense. So the first one is DigiMe. They have been participating for a long time in MyData Global, and then they are a few first that contribute to the white paper also. And basically, they know the MyData principle inside out. So that's why the reason that they apply for the award is to get the proper ethical approval, so that when people see the awards, they know that, okay, DigiMe is doing it properly. And then also for the visibility, because MyData Global is kind of in the Slack, we have 2,000 participants, and then each conference, real conference, in-person conference, we usually have about 1,000 people who join, and even on the online we have several hundreds. So it means all the people will be able to do the promotion for you, as long as you have this MyData Awards. And also they mentioned about the ecosystem building. So again, they as I said before, the operators with a plural. So it means we all work together and then try to see what's good for the individual. So we can always improve ourselves and then create and building the new system or new ecosystem every once in a while, so that we learn from each other. And then and also, as you can see, there's not much people talking about just personal data, right? So it means it's still a very small pie, and we want to make the pie bigger. And then instead of just being a competitors, actually we think that we can make the pie bigger and then share everything, and then helping other people too. And what's the first one? Combine, yeah. And also I think if you're only famous in one company, and then that's it, right? But then with the MyData Operators, it involves so many diversity of company and in different countries. It means whatever I got mentioned in Japan, I will also mention the other company in the Europe. So it means we are kind of like doing it together with the whole global promotions. So that's why it's quite useful on this whole ecosystem. And the last two, which is quite important also for me, I think that like we participate with each other and then get to learn which area we're specialized in. For example, DigiMe, it's quite advanced, so they're good in those online functional elements. But with, for example, for Personium, we are only good at personal data and then data modeling. And then when we create solutions for our customer, there's something we lack. Then we combine with other, and then to provide a better solutions with data modeling and then with identity management and permission management. So we get a bigger chance of getting the contract when there's so many other competitors who are not doing personal data in the field. And then and the last thing is, since we're all working together, we get to contribute to these most important interoperability objectives. So that's DigiMe. And for Icon and IO, if I remember correctly, they are from I think Switzerland. So correctly, either Switzerland or Sweden. So sorry about that. That's like my ignorance. So for them, the reason that they want to apply for this award is like it will strengthen their commitment to the human centric. Because like me, if I'm not told or if I'm not contribute to do something, then I might get slack off and then just not doing it, right? But if I sign the thing agreeing that, okay, I'll become more human centric, I'll support the individuals, it means it's kind of strengthen your will. So that that's what I think they want to do. And then here they also like DigiMe, they want to contribute and learn and co-create the data economy together. So as we can see, it's still the personal data economy is still very small. So it's always a chance that we can make it bigger while serving the society. And here they also said they want to be a part of the interoperable ecosystem for personal data. So and also there's so many laws that coming out. So if we do it together and then solve it together, then it's much easier. Because for me, I'm not lawyers, right? So but with all the other people with the expertise, then I can rely on them to help me out in the certain areas. And okay, so last but not least, it's Personium. So we get this, and I kind of persuade Fujitsu to apply for it. It's because basically the MyData movement aligns with our company vision, and we kind of talk about it by the CTO of Western Europe in the online conference. So if you're interested, you can access this slide deck or video to see how our CTO talks about the alignments. And then also, it's with all the other operators, we find that it's an opportunity for our own engineer to learn from all these different operators. For example, data fund numbers protocol, Onyo data and Vasu group. So it helps improve our engineers' career path. And then third one, it's we want to serve this trustworthiness in the data economy. So it's kind of like DigiMe that they want to have this ethical being recognized. And it's kind of a success story that has, like I said, mentioned long time ago, half an hour before, that we were in the city as MyData Operator project. That the government itself is the operator, and then we are the we are the service provider. And then instead of Fujitsu Limited in Japan, Fujitsu Finland actually get a consortium and led by Western Group and get that contract. So we provide benefits or income to other company in a global way. And also within Fujitsu in different countries, we also have an increased business proposal to our customers, because they start to recognize this this MyData way, and then they're interested on how to do it properly. And then also it's more for the European market. We have this kind of GaiaX and IDSA collaborations for not for company, but not for individual, but for intercompany or inter-industrial framework that basically also based on the idea of how to share data properly and ethically. So but with our expertise in the personal data, we also kind of provide advice and help connect with people on the industry, cross-industry base. And kind of a side story, it's because of these activities that I work on, our team get internal award being recognized because we create values for our customers. And also myself, I also get recognized to be one of the candidates. I didn't have the award yet, but I applied. I was considered one of the candidates for the Global Facility Distinguished Engineer. So it means when you do something good and quite innovative, it helps people and then also help your career improvement. So I have 9 minutes left. So just I'll go through it briefly. You can access this this URL to see how you can get the MyData Operators. It's all checkbox and then text box that you can type in everything. If you get into trouble, maybe you can ask me. But since for the 2021, it's gonna close within less than 10 days. So maybe you won't be able to apply for this time, but you can always check out the next one because the next one is for 21 it's going to close by September 30th, right? So for some people who are new to this idea, you might not be able to get it, but you can apply for the 2020, which is January. So if you do want to apply for the 2022, just give me a shout and then I can see how I can help you. And yes, some kind of announcement. We're going to have in person and also online community meeting in Amsterdam in November. So by that time, we will also announce the winner of the MyData Operators. And actually, last year we were scheduled to meet in Amsterdam in March, but because of the COVID, I couldn't go. So now that I have my second jab, I'm planning to go, but still, most likely I won't be able to go because of this quarantine thing for 14 days or something. But if you're somehow in the Europe area, please check it out and then maybe you can do something. So here are all the information about the URL and everything. So yeah, that's all. And if we have 7 minutes of questions, then I can answer any questions if you want to do anything. So yeah, okay, I saw one questions from Sean. Oh no, from Miriam. What does MyData propose for citizens on how to carry out COVID-19 vaccination certificates? Yeah. So as I showed you before, we have a thematic group called MyData for Pandemic. Actually, I was participating there as a PDS, but with the leader, they have a huge bunch of platform. MyData Pandemics. We have a platform that how to share your data digitally and securely. And then while you get the data, you can choose whether you want to share your data to open data to have someone to research on it and then find out the new cure for the pandemics. So it's all based on the empowerment of the citizens. So if you want to know more, I can direct you. You can contact me later on, and then I can direct you to the URL of our document for the pandemics. And then let's see. In the chat, is there a presentation on? Okay, so. Oops, you cannot see the slide? Okay, so I did something wrong. Sorry about that. Okay, so sorry. So yeah, it's quite difficult to use this. So that's all I have. Sean, anything you want to do? Sorry, guys, about
we just missed the possibility of looking at the slides where you were giving the talk. I think we noticed it when it was a bit too late already, so I didn't want to interrupt you in the middle of it. I hope that you can share the slide with the participants later.
Yes, yeah.
And in any case, if anyone has, there you go. If anyone wants to reach out to Dixon, you can do so whether in the MyData booth or as well sending him a private message later, and maybe even sitting after the session. Dixon has a table on the lounge where you can also reach out to him more directly. Thank you, Dixon, for the presentation. Appreciate it.
Thank you, and sorry about the technical.
I don't believe that there's any other questions, so we can move forward and close the session. Thank you so much, everyone, for attending, and see you on the next one that will be starting in about 30 minutes. There's a networking session happening right now in the lounge, and after that, there will be simultaneously the BHR in Tech conversation as well as Red Hat series on DevOps operations part 4. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So, and I'll share my link in